Hello, good evening, and compliments of the season from 92.3 Nigeria Info FM. On the news this evening, interstate drivers justify fresh hike in cost of transport ahead of New Year celebration. President Buhari promises to recover funds stolen from the NDDC. Federal government says insecurity was biggest challenge of 2021 and will bring you a special report on the impact of ASU's incessant strikes. On the foreign scene, mourners bid final goodbyes to Archbishop Desmond Tutu as he dies in state in South Africa. I'm Adedayo, Elusakin. Ahead of the New Year celebration, some interstate drivers in Port Harcourt have attributed the sudden increase in the cost of transportation to police extortion and poor state of roads, amongst others. An interstate driver spoke to our correspondent on this.
The challenges where they face for roads, na bad road, because this bad road is very bad. So they go follow this Ibueche, and that road is a very long road. So before we go cut that place, come out this side. And police, they collect money. Road safety, they collect. So that's how they share the money. So when we can't share them, and when we load here to the commission for here is very high. So when we pay that money, then and our coming back, you say passenger to come back. So the waiting we load here, now we go still take buy fuel. Still drive come back, so now make the price go high.
The driver, however, called on the government to intervene.
The pass they very high this time around. So if they can help us, at least those people they import those things they come and bring the things down because of this dollar rate will go high. Now make everything come high. Now be the major problem. So people come time and say as people want to travel like this, now time where they go make more money, they cover out the whole thing where they don't they suffer.
As you may know, the rising number of interstate travelers saw an increase in transport fares. Meanwhile, traders at a fruit garden market Port Harcourt say the cost of some food items like tomatoes, pepper and onions have remained stable, and some traders spoke to our correspondent.
We get one way the big seed. Those big seeds with this crate now. Some of us they sell 7,000, some they sell 6,500. Depends how the load they. Then the other ones, then where they small seed, it goes 6,000 naira. Just they put for takeaway. This small basket takeaway. They fit say 9,000 naira, 8,000 naira, 7,000 naira. Depends how they load the distance. Pepper, we they sell 6,000, 5,000 in a bag. But you go get 6,000, you go get 5,000.
The traders say bringing onions into River State has been difficult due to multiple taxation.
For the basket, they sell 15,000 naira. But before, 12,000, 8,000. But now it's 15,000. Any size, as is the basket. No matter the size, whether big or small. Some people prefer big sizes. Some want that small size. So it's at the same price as is basket. Why did they top money like that? Because of the way big. It's all the settlement. That's why they're on the high side.
Moving on, spokesperson of the River State Civil Society Organization, Solomon Lenu, says the civil society will intensify sensitization campaigns for Nigerians in 2022 being a political year. Mr. Lenu said this in an interview with our correspondent.
2022 is an election year, and of course, like you know, there's going to be a lot of activities. We are going to be doing a lot of stakeholders engagement, and when we say stakeholders here, we are referring to the people. So 2022 is going to be a year that the civil society organizations are going to do more of engagement, more sensitization to make the people brace up, rise up, and understand the important role that they play in the business of governance. The leadership of this country, whenever the civil society organizations come together to try to educate the people, they act in panic mode.
Solomon Lenu also said civil society organizations will work towards ensuring that Nigerians get their permanent voters' cards.
We are going to let Rivers people and Nigerians to understand the importance of having a PVC and the disservice to self for not having one. And worst still, the dangers of having one and not using it. So this is going to be one of our core objectives, one of our core responsibilities of 2022. So we are calling on the judiciary to work to close rank with us. We are equally calling on the security agencies to come together to work in synergy with us in 2022.
And President Muhammadu Buhari has promised to recover every kobo stolen from the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC). This is as his administration reviews the concluded forensic audit reports of the agency. President Buhari made this known at the virtual commissioning of the NDDC prototype hostel at the University of Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. He pledged to prosecute those found culpable in accordance with the law. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says insecurity is the major challenge the federal government faced in 2021. The minister said this today during a press conference to showcase the achievements of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration this year. And he said despite the long list of achievements, insecurity was a major challenge. And the Court of Appeal in Abuja locked out workers who showed up late for work today. It followed a directive by the President of the Court, Justice Monica Dangban Bensem. One of the employees of the court said Justice Dangban Bensem did something similar during the Salah, but Muslims accused her of being harsh, and so she's doing it again to avoid being accused of bias. And still ahead, we'll bring you a special report on the impact of ASU's incessant strikes. Do please stay with us.
This is to inform the general public that Nzuko Obibi Social Cultural Organization, the Apex Social Cultural Organization in Obibi Eche, in Eche local government area of River State, have on the first day of October 2021 elected the following persons to pilot the affairs of Obibi town in general for the next 3 years. Mr. Emmanuel Okechukwu Amadi, President General. Supol Donatus Onwudebe, Vice President General. Mr. Wankwo Promise A, General Secretary. Honorable Stephen Onwuka, Public Relations Officer. Barrister Chima Elechi Eze, Assistant General Secretary. Mr. Francis Kema Kolom Monoye, Financial Secretary. Comrade Obinna Ogbonna Chukwuemeka, Director of Social. Mr. Ngozi Amadi, Treasurer. And Mr. Stanley Chike, Provost. Congratulations to Obibi people and congratulations to newly elected executives. Chetala Obibi, Mayor Nma, signed. Honorable Stephen Onwuka, PRO.
And welcome back to the major news on 92.3 Nigeria Info. The Academic Staff Union of Universities has been locked in a standoff with the federal government for several years. From 1999 till date, the university dons have gone on strike 15 times, averaging more than once every 2 years. And Kano correspondent Samuel Oha Yaga examines the effects of these strikes on the nation's tertiary institutions.
Clever Kelvin, a 7-corps member in Kano, will not forget his experience in a jiffy. He had an ample opportunity of securing a job, but for elongated ASU strike.
There was actually a job opportunity prior to the time I was planning for graduation. Strike came into it and I lost that opportunity.
His story is similar to that of Patience, a final year student at Bayero University, Kano. She claimed to have lost a job allotted to her mother due to the incessant strike actions.
I was supposed to be serving now, and I'm still here doing the same thing. They actually promised me a sports, but since I haven't graduated, I don't think I'll be able to get it because there is an age limit for it.
For his part, Nuhu is among the job seekers that are battling with age limit factor, courtesy of the ASU strike, as he spent extra years in the university.
When I got admitted into the institution, I was 26 years old, thinking that I was going to graduate at the age of 30, but due to the strike, I graduated very late. Presently now I am 30 plus. After my graduation from the university, I couldn't get a job because of my age.
Just as the students' bitter experiences linger, so it is from their parents. Their concern is not only the avoidable delay, also its socio-economic impacts.
Most youths are idle during ASU strike. Say an idle man is a type of workshop. When you didn't engage that child in something doing, you will discover that that child may join the other aspect of life that is very negative. So we have to engage our children with something that is only alternative for them to be useful.
So I spend more money. They are feeding and they demand more money for spending.
Education experts rated strike action as one of the most consistent activities in the Nigerian universities in the last 22 years. Let's check it out. ASU embarked on strike in 1999, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2005, and back-to-back between 2006 and 2010. The struggle continued in 2011, 2013, 2017, 2018, and the latest in 2020, making the strike 15 times, with cumulative period of 50 months in 22 years. In other words, this means in every 5 years since 1999, Nigerian universities spent one on strike. What are the continuous issues bordering these agitating lecturers? ASU chairman at Bayero University, Professor Haruna Musa, explains.
Our demands include funding for revitalization, payment of earned academic allowances, payment of withheld salaries and check-up dues, a renegotiation of the ASU Federal Government of Nigeria agreement, and the deployment of university transparency and accountability solutions, and of course, the stoppage of using IPPIS in the payment of our salaries.
The last 2 weeks had been dramatic following blame games between the union and Labour Minister Chris Ngige over the actual figures of the fund released so far, just as the minister insists that the government can no longer fund the education alone.
Education cannot be funded by government alone. ASU says they have some proposals they have given to the employers, and I think the employers are looking at that proposal because that's the only way out.
President Buhari on Wednesday frowned at the poor global ranking of Nigerian universities, where our best university of Ibadan was ranked 1,196 globally, yet there is little or no priority attention to the incessant ASU strike. Even though the minister promises that the federal government will not allow the union to embark on the looming strike as threatened, such assurance could only hold water if relevant stakeholders act promptly to end the worrisome instability in the nation's tertiary education.
And that was a special report on the effect of ASU strike done by Kano correspondent Same Oha Yaga. And moving on, the Obi Lulubriggs family in Abonima says they will continue to celebrate and uphold their father's legacies. Chief Dumo Lulubriggs made this known during the maiden edition of the Chief Obi Lulubriggs Annual Cultural Day in Abonima. Chief Dumo, who is also the paramount head of the Uruwari Group of House, explained the reason for organizing the Cultural Day in memory of their father.
And then we also knew that it was very concerned that the Calabaris were losing their culture, their language, their plays, their traditional things, the storytelling, the native drums they used to play, the wrestling, the masquerades and all of that. And we just felt that there was a need for us to try and remember those things. And we just thought that if we must continue his legacy, one thing that we knew that he wanted to do so very badly that he didn't get around to doing in his lifetime was the promotion of the Calvary traditions and culture. Therefore, we just felt that every year on the 27th, we should have, a Lulu's Remembrance Day. And then that will help us to push our kids to learn their language, to understand their culture.
He told Newsman the expected changes in the subsequent Chief Obi Lulubriggs Annual Cultural Day.
It's going to be a learning experience, and so much has been learned. So subsequently, we're unlikely to do all on just one day. We may end it on the 27th, or perhaps have a 3-day event, so that we can give enough time to each of the several events that we have. Because we don't want our culture to die. Time was when the Ogoni people were here and all that. It was instructive for you to note that the people who won the canoe, the paddle race, right, but the Ogoni people living in Abonima, they came first. So the Ogoni people have come, they've lived in our environment, they are fishing now. Most of us are going to stop fishing, but the Ogonis are fishing now, they are swimming, and they came out first in the canoe race. They beat people from Calabari communities in Ifo.
The head chief said the cultural day is to ensure communities in the kingdom unite the more.
It's basically a celebratory thing when Christ, was born, and everybody is celebrating. So you can see that the mood is quite buoyant. So there's no winner and there is no loser. That is why for all the different events that we have prizes, consider prizes for everybody. Whether for just participating, you are going to go home with something. And then there was also food, which was served at all the spots in Abonima. Free food, so that variety of food that you can eat everywhere in all the compounds. One at least 5 stands. That people will go, and be fed. So there's not one person who will be here, right, and not feel the mood of Christmas. So we're celebrating our father, celebrating culture, and also getting ourselves in the groove.
Correspondent Soibi Uruwari reports that the paramount head of the Uruwari Group of House also spoke on prizes won by the different categories of the cultural competitions held.
For instance, now the cooking competition, now the first prize is that a restaurant will be established for the person here in Abonima. So we'll rent a shop, we'll buy gas cookers for the person, refrigerators, cooking utensils, and money for some food stuff, right? For the first prize. So every year at least, we're able to establish one business person in Abonima. And then the second prize, the third prize is all money. But everybody else who participated, so for all the 5 of them, they will go home with something. And then the second prize is about 200,000, the third prize is about 100,000. But everybody else who is here will go home with at least 25,000 will be given to each of them.
Our correspondent reports that the Chief Obi Lulu Briggs Annual Cultural Day features canoe race, cooking competition, traditional wrestling, a cultural exhibition of arts and crafts, storytelling, and language translations, among others.
And now the business news.
Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission (FCCPC) says the Joint Committee tackling violation of consumer rights in the money lending industry will shut down illegal businesses when it begins. The Chief Executive Officer of FCCPC, Babatunde Irukera, in an interview said the enforcement will begin soon.
But I can say to you that at least 2 of the entities in the Joint Committee would be going on the field and doing enforcement work very shortly. They'll be closing down businesses. We would also be engaging app stores to shut down certain applications that are infringing and are abusive. We would also be writing interim regulations and some basic information for all these money lenders to even provide information. Let's even know who you are. Some of them are just apps that we don't know. And so we're going to create certain framework that you must comply with. So those are the 3 pieces: enforcement, continuing investigation, interim regulations.
Take it away with the entertainment news.
Nollywood actress Mercy Johnson Okoje has celebrated her daughter Purity, who clocked 9 years old today. She took to Instagram to share pictures of the 9-year-old as she prayed for her.
And now, updates on the sports news.
The Nigeria Football Federation says Leicester City player Ademola Lookman has not been cleared by World Football Governing Body FIFA to represent Nigeria. The 24-year-old had represented England at under-19, under-20 and under-21 levels, helping them win the under-20 World Cup in 2017. NFF in a statement today said the process of his switch to Nigeria, which will confirm his taking part in AFCON, has not been concluded.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
Mourners are filing past the coffin of Archbishop Desmond Tutu as his body lies in state at St. George's Cathedral in Cape Town, South Africa. Tutu, a Nobel Peace Prize winner who helped end apartheid in South Africa, died on Sunday, aged 90. His official state funeral will be held on January 1 after the lying-in-state period, allowing mourners to file past his body and say their final goodbyes. And that's it on the news this evening. You heard interstate drivers have justified the fresh hike in the cost of transport ahead of New Year celebrations. President Muhammadu Buhari has promised to recover every kobo stolen from the NDDC. The federal government says insecurity was its biggest challenge this year, and we brought you a special report on the impact of ASU's incessant strikes. At the 4:18, mourners bid final goodbyes to Archbishop Desmond Tutu today as he laid in state in South Africa. And that was the news edited by Chioma Ejinwafo. For more stories, visit www.nigeriainfo.fm. Mainly clear weather expected in Port Harcourt this evening. Many thanks for listening. I am Adedayo, Elusakin. Good evening.